I hate when people like leave me. And I don't know where it came from, but I hate it when people leave me.
Do you ever leave yourself? You hurt when people are leaving you.
Yes.
Externally, right?
Yes.
So they're abandoning you, essentially.
That's how it feels, yes.
Great. Where do you abandon yourself?
Sometimes all it takes is a small shift in perspective to unlock a whole new world. If you're ready for your shift, join the conversation.
Thank you so much for coming.
Well, no, thank you for having me. I'm so excited.
So the premise of the show is for you to ask a question, and then we just kind of talk and see what we can either resolve or come up with a different perspective of, something for you to percolate on.
Okay. So I don't really have a question, but I was just like wondering if maybe we could talk about my self-worth.
Okay.
Because I feel that's something that I struggle with a lot, and I'm not quite sure why. Even last night I was at my friend's house, and we were talking about relationships though, and just relationships that I've been in the past, and kind of talking about like guys that I've dated. And a common theme among them was they just like weren't that nice to me. So I'm not sure what it is that I accept this, and I don't know what it is. And I think this is just like basically my worth. I guess you could sum it up to that.
So in your conversation, you were noticing that the theme of your past relationships was accepting a behavior where the people you were dating were not very nice.
No, not very kind. No,
they weren't kind.
No.
And you were attracted to that in some way.
When you phrase it like that, I would say yes.
Because you were with them for a period of time.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yes. So I don't know if I'm attracted to it or what it is, but it is a common denominator amongst all of them. And just like some behavior I accept, when we were kind of talking about it, it was like, why was I okay with that? I don't understand.
Mm-hmm. So maybe tell me a little bit more about these behaviors.
Well, when I dated Ethan's father, like I'm very forthcoming about this. He was very abusive. Physically, mentally, sexually. The sexually was only once, but it was very traumatizing. So then the next guy that I dated, so he was an abusive, but he was a really bad drug addict, like really bad. And then we broke up. And then the next guy after that, I wouldn't say he was abusive, but he had like really bad anger issues. But he was never abusive to me. He was a bit selfish too. I guess that's another recurring theme throughout all of them. They were all very selfish. So the guy that had anger issues, he was nice to other people. I just don't find he was nice to me. And when I look back at it, he was almost trying to change me. And it got to the point that I was so desperate to stay with him that I was like starting to compromise myself. Like one of my things was, and again, it's just my personal thing. This like does not have to be, but I just, after Ethan's dad, I don't know why, but I just have this thing, like I will not move in with someone unless I'm married to them. It's just something that and he basically was just like, I never want to get married. So either like you're moving in with me and like, this is the only way it's going to work. So we actually didn't move in together, thank goodness. But near the end, I started to change like, okay, well, maybe I don't want to get married and then we can move in together. And so we were talking about this and I remember he was buying a house. I should have known then. And then I was kind of trying to talk like, okay, so if this is a step we're going to take, this could be like our house. Like, can I look at them with you? And my dad had already said before, like he would give me money to go towards a house. Like I'll talk to my dad. And like, if this is the plan, basically moving forward. And he was just like, nope. And it was fine. Like he wanted to buy his own house. I understand. But then after he bought it, he was just basically like, you're going to move into my house. And so instead of putting him boundaries up, I was just like, okay. Like,
but you didn't move in.
No, thank goodness. We didn't. That did not happen. So we actually broke up because he was talking. So when he moved into his new house, he was at work one day and he's like, I bought a house on whatever the street was. I can't remember. And there was a girl at work was like, oh, what number did you buy? And he said like 290 or 116, whatever it was that he had. And she's like, oh, I live in this number. And it happened to be right across the road from him.
Okay.
So then his version of events is that, and I'm sure this is what did happen because I know all the time when these situations happen, it always starts out innocently. But they kind of start texting like, oh, what are your land taxes like? Or like, what is your house like? What do you do for this? When's garbage day? Just stuff like that. And then I'm not quite sure how far they went in talking, but basically one time I texted him and I was just like, hey, he's like, what the fuck do you want? It's like, sorry? And he's like, what the fuck do you want? And I was like, I want to come over because I don't have Ethan for the night. Because he's at my mom's. And he was just being like, I don't want to do this anymore. I'm like, just like cold turkey. Anyway, he's like cut me off. And my parents ended up sending me away because I was so distraught about it. And then after I went away and started to kind of like, I was not better by any means because the trip was like a Band-Aid, but it just went, they sent me to get
sent you away on like a vacation.
Yes, just to get
you a vacation.
Yes, just to like get some mental clarity because I was not taking that breakup well at all.
Right.
Because again, we were talking about moving in together. It was like, this was my, and we're talking about having kids.
You were somewhat putting up boundaries, or did he not know that?
No, the boundaries weren't yet. So then,
were they in your mind?
Nope, because I'd already tried, and now that he was buying the house, it's basically like, this is it. So that's when I started kind of like, okay, well, you know what, this is. So anyway, this is how he broke with me. So I go on this vacation, but it wasn't like I wasn't healed by any means, but it was just more like my parents were like, you need to get away from this town and like away from this person. You need to go away and just for a week and just. My mom was like, I'll keep Ethan for the week. You just need to go somewhere and just breathe. So I went, and then he got word that I was going on the trip, and they started texting me when I was on the trip, and I'm texting back, and then we tried to work on it, and then he said to me like, oh, I did that because I knew I was going to fuck the neighbor. Those were his exact words. So I still went back with him, and we still worked on it, but near the end, this is really embarrassing to admit, Ashley, but near the end, it was like basically like he was just kind of using me. It was like, okay, this isn't, and that's when I started to really like try to
realize that. You came to realize that he was basically using you.
Yeah, near the end. And this wasn't super healthy. So the guy after him, so we hung out one Sunday, and then a week later, I went to watch the Super Bowl with my friend, and I met this other guy. And then we basically started dating, but that relationship was like a whole disaster in itself too. He was also a drug addict. So a lot of the issues that he had was because he's a drug addict. And we were on now for 4 years, but I did actually think like I was going to marry this guy. Like I loved him so much, but he did end up getting sober. But after he was sober, like again, I thought he was actually nicer to me when he was an addict than he was when he was sober.
Okay.
I know that sounds really odd, but it was like the only difference I can say with the last guy to anybody else was like him and I don't know if it was because we had been through so much together, but he was actually my best friend. So that's kind of what I hung on to for so long. Like the relationship should have been over like way longer than it was. But he literally, actually, like I say, like he was my best friend. Like he ended up moving from here. He went to BC, but it was still like we would both, and like he would agree with me if I asked him, we would both, like if we'd see something that we knew the other person like would love to know, like we would get so excited just to like call each other, like, oh my gosh, babe, like guess what happened? Or like we'd call, he'd be the one I'd call, like, and
so I have a question for you. So how do you feel that being with these people who are not nice to you reflects a self-worth issue?
I don't know, just because that's what people say. So I'm kind of going, they're like, do you not have any self-worth? And I'm like, I thought I did, but maybe not. I don't know. So I just like maybe assumed that it was my self-worth. I don't know. But I like think my self-worth is pretty good, but maybe not. Because then the guy after that, we weren't a boyfriend and girlfriend, but we were dating. And he like couldn't choose between me and his ex-girlfriend. So basically he like wanted to have a relationship with me, but he just wanted to go to Edmonton sometimes to sleep with her too. So I let that go. This is embarrassing to admit this all, but I let that go. And then after a while, I was like, what are you doing? Like, this is crazy. And I did end it with him because it was like, this is insane, Kayla. Like, what is wrong with you? And then he actually ended up dating his ex-girlfriend like two months later. So I obviously made the right choice. Like I knew in my heart, I think I just didn't listen to it for 6 months.
But you did listen to it.
Well, yeah, I did, but I still let it happen.
Do you acknowledge that you listened to it?
Oh, yes. I was like, there's no way I could.
Okay.
And like, he's even like, anytime he'd have a problem with that girl, he'd always like reach out to me. And it was just like, no, no, this will not.
So how does it make you feel that you let it happen?
Well, it does make me sad. Like sometimes when I think about it, like also I was talking to my friend, it made me sad and it is embarrassing. Like this is all very embarrassing. Like it's sad that I would let someone treat me like that. Like, for example, okay, so I had my Christmas party on Friday night, and I wasn't drinking, but my friend was, and she was like, "Oh, let's go somewhere after." I was like, "Okay." So we went to like another bar, and anyway, there was a girl there, and she was with a guy, and they were kind of together, but not together. Anyway, it was just one of those weird situations, and me and my friend were like getting mad at him because he was like not paying the bill for her. We're like, "Why are you doing this? Like, you should be paying the bill. Like, this is not." And like to the girl, like, "Girl, like this person should be paying this for you, whatever." Anyway, they did end up paying separately, and it was fine. But then I thought about it, and I was like, I don't know why I was getting so upset at that guy, because I let that happen like all the time in my life. Like when I'm with someone or dating them or they're my boyfriend, whatever, there's like so many times that like, and it's not like, okay, let's go 50-50. Like sometimes I'll pay and sometimes you pay. It's like, I'm always the one paying.
When you're with them, do you feel like you're like trying to fix them?
So the one I talked about, my best friend, I don't know if I felt like I had to fix him, but it got to the point where it was like, I can't. Maybe at first that's how I felt. I was like, I wanted some kind of fairy tale. Like, okay, this is the way he was when he's now. But like, I can just see, like, if we just date and we just.
You'll be the magnificent one that makes him
like, and then when he did get better, I still loved him a lot. But at that point, it wasn't about fixing him. It came to a point with him and I that it wasn't even about fixing him anymore. I just think that we were so intertwined with everything that we had gone through. It was like, okay, we've gone through so much. Why don't I just work more to make this work because of everything that's already happened? Do you know what I mean? So there did come a point it wasn't fixing anymore. It was just like, okay, we worked through all this. I think that we could just keep going and we'll just work through all this stuff.
Work through all the problems.
And it'll be fine. Because we've already overcome this. Like, overcame your addiction and you becoming sober. Like, we got through that and that was so hard, but we made it. It's like, what is our problem? Why are we not meeting here?
So what do you think you get from the people who are not nice to you?
A sad hurt. Like, I don't really think that I get, I don't know, it's a very intense question. I don't know. Because it's just, I don't know. Like, again, going back to the fixing thing.
Sorry, when you're like choosing to pick them, do you get like the butterflies and the anxiousness and like, oh, I really like this person? Does that happen when you're...
That's okay. So the neighbor fiasco man, one time when we were driving, we went out for dinner and we ended up getting a huge fight. It was like, oh my gosh. Anyway, we didn't end up doing what we were planned because like in the middle of dinner, like he just lost it at me and he was like so mad about something. Like we were telling stories about our past and he asked me something and I answered it. Like he asked me the question and I could have lied to him, but I didn't because you're my boyfriend. So I was honest. And I like happened actually like when I was like 18 or 19. And at this point I was in my 20s. I might have been 30 at this point. And I told him and he lost his mind at me. And he was like, how dare you, fucking little slut. And he was like, so anyway, we didn't even finish the date. So he calmed down. We ended up going to Walmart. I don't know why. And then when we were driving back, he said to me, he's like, I don't understand. He's like, I don't think you understand. Every time I see you, I get so excited and I get butterflies in my stomach. And honestly, since you asked that question, I remember I was sitting there thinking like, oh, okay. Because sometimes when I saw him, I did not get excited. I felt dread. And he also did have problems.
You still stayed with him.
I did, but I didn't. So again, with fixing, he also had a lot of mental health problems. So sometimes in a relationship, again, it would get to the point where it's like, okay, like, are you going to get out of bed today? Oh, you're not? Okay, are you going to eat today? Okay, well, what is something that you could eat? So I would get him like super something like, okay, well, are you going to do this today? Okay, are you going to go to work today? How are you feeling today? So I don't know if that's maybe where the sense of dread came from, because it was like, okay, yeah, I like to see you, but sometimes I don't want to, so I feel like I have to look after you.
Have you ever had to look after people when you were younger?
No, not really. My mom was a stay-at-home mom, so she was always around. My brother, I don't know if this is really like looking after him, but he struggles with addiction. He's clean now though, but it started when he was very, very young. But he like didn't want his mom to find out, or our mom to find out. So, I mean, there would be a couple times like I take care of him and not like tell my mom, like just like the normal stuff, like him in the wagon and then drag him home. And then one time he puked all over himself. So I had to pick him up, clean him up because everybody else was too drunk to do it.
And this is like 12, 15.
So yeah, so we were in PI and then we moved, but this one we were in PI. The one where about the puking, that happened when I was like, so he was still a teenager, but we're 4 years apart. So I think I was like, he might have been 14 and I was 18 when that happened.
Oh, okay.
So it wasn't like younger, but that would be the only time that I really like, I guess sometimes like I would take care of my sister too, mostly with money, but yeah. But she's helped me out too with money too, so I don't want to say that very much either. But she also had like a lot of mental health issues and addiction issues as well.
Mm-hmm.
But again, it didn't come out until later in life. So yeah, there would be like times that I'd have to take care of her. And she just had a baby, so I try to help her out there as much as I can.
So
yeah.
I don't know what it is, but I feel like there's something in the line of like, there's an underlying pattern that you are actually receiving something when you're helping people. And it's like not necessarily receiving something good. It's like there's a value that you're getting from it that you're trumping your own value.
Sometimes I think that like I take care of them, that sometimes I wish that like people would take care of me, I think.
When do you feel like you're not taken care of? Earliest memory you remember not feeling like you're the one that's getting taken care of?
I don't really remember. I was like, I talked about my other 2 siblings. Like I have 3. My youngest brother like took a lot of my mom's time when he was younger. He's a very spirited young man. So I don't know. I just like was really smart.
So your brother took a lot of your mom's time.
Yeah, not intentionally, but he was young. But he had a lot of energy. Like she had to like, I wouldn't say that ADHD, like it's not that it's a mental health problem, but he was like the child that it was like, he would be in a 5-story building and she'd have to watch him because he would be the one looking over like, oh, I wonder what it'd be like to jump down here, when it's like, no, you can't be doing that. Like she'd kind of have to rein him in a little bit. Mm-hmm. So yeah.
So if you didn't have your adult mind where you can rationalize what's happening, right? You're an adult. But if you were to just really look at it from your adolescent mind, what do you think that adolescent mind would use as a coping mechanism?
I just never, I don't know if it was a coping mechanism, but I tried my hardest to like never get in trouble. Like I never want to do anything. So that's why it was like kind of the good one. And I just kind of figured it out. Mm-hmm. And
you didn't need anybody.
Yeah. And then I like, when I was younger too, this is not my family life, but I got bullied a lot. So I don't know if I carried that into adulthood, into my relationships, but it's like.
So you got bullied a lot when you were younger. Mm-hmm. And you don't know if you carried that into your.
Well, no, because like, I don't want to say why sometimes maybe that's why I settle, but I did have a lot of bullying. So it's like, okay, is this like, this is it. This is because even last night my friend was like, I don't even know what type of guy you're attracted to because everyone is so different in looks and the way they are. It's like,
it's about the energy, not the looks.
Yeah, that's fair. Because most people can look at a guy and be like, that's really good looking. Or you'll see sometimes when people date people, they are similar in looks, but mine never ever have been. But I don't even know if I've ever been with, well, no.
Can we go back to the bullying thing?
Yeah. Oh yeah, of course.
So I don't know if you noticed what just happened there.
What?
So the bullying was, I feel, touching on something sensitive. And your mind was like, nope, we're not going there.
Well, I don't really talk about it. I don't ever really talk about it.
I can imagine it was very tough.
Like I remember, actually about this other day, that's funny because there was one time I was getting bullied so bad that my dad like took the morning off work because we lived in a smaller community. And he just came to like come to school with me for half a day just because it was like really bad. But people would sometimes be like, well, it's because your heart is so soft because I didn't like let things roll off my back like other people. I guess that's what people would say to me.
What do you mean by that? Like,
well, like when people say things to you, people are like, well, you kind of have to like think about who it's coming from or like.
And you would take it to heart and be like,
yeah,
oh, that really
like,
hurts.
Yeah, and like, oh, well, I don't know why it would hurt you. Like, look at that person, blah, blah, blah. Or like the classic, like, hurt people. And it's like, well, it doesn't make it hurt any less when it's like happening to you. But Because even sometimes now, I still carry that a little bit. Like if someone, I'm getting better, but sometimes when people say stuff, I really take it to heart. Then people are like, well, why? I'm like, I don't know, because it hurt my feelings. And then I feel like a child because I'm like, well, no, it hurt my feelings. Like I'm sad. And just like, well, you shouldn't really care what people think. It's like, but I do care what people think. I don't know why. I do care what people think.
And so do you see a connection at all? Like, I don't know, I could be wrong, but I'm just curious if the connection of the way you felt when you were being bullied has anything to do with you staying in relationships longer than you should be when you see all those red flags.
Actually, maybe, because some of them are kind of bullies.
Some of them?
Well, probably all of them, yeah. Well, the one who wanted to sleep with his ex-girl at the same time, there wasn't necessarily wrong with, well, no, that wasn't nice.
If it's against your boundaries, then it's
yeah, I probably should have said no the first.
Right.
When he first did, I probably should have been like, no, it's not okay. This is okay for some people, just not okay for me.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's another thing too. Sometimes I feel like maybe I don't set my boundaries because it's like how I said, like there would be some people who would have dated him and would have been like, that's fine. We can have like an open relationship or whatever. And like, there's nothing wrong with that. Like nothing wrong with that at all. So sometimes I'm like, am I being too harsh by being like, okay, you're not my boyfriend, but we are dating. I'm not seeing anybody else. I'm not doing anything with anybody else because that is just the way I am as a person. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Plus I'm older. Like I'm not
here. You can have your boundaries and that's okay too.
Yes. So it's like, but then when it was happening with him, I'm like, okay, well maybe I'm being a bit too harsh. Like maybe.
So you were excusing the behavior still.
Yeah. I literally like, honestly, actually, I'm not joking you. He was just like, wouldn't even go to Edmonton that often. It would just happen every once in a while. And it was like, he wouldn't lie to me. I'd be like, oh, okay. Are you going to go and see?
What do you think would happen with the person if you set your boundaries?
Oh, probably they leave me. That's like a big thing.
They'll leave you.
Yes. Because even with that guy, the neighbor girl, I think a lot of the time too, when I started to compromise myself, it was like, okay, well, if I tell you that, yeah, I do want to get married and I do want to have kids. Yes, he did.
Right. So how is them leaving the worst thing?
I don't know. Because it's like someone died, I guess.
It feels like someone dies when they leave?
I don't know if I have like attachment issues, but I hate when people like leave me. And I don't know where it came from, but I hate it when people leave me.
Do you ever leave yourself? You hurt when people are leaving you.
Yes.
Externally, right?
Yes.
So they're abandoning you, essentially.
That's how it feels, yes.
Right? Where do you abandon yourself?
Probably when I don't keep my boundaries or just let them treat me this way because it doesn't feel very nice when it's going on.
Mm-hmm. So like, so far, what I feel like I'm seeing, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but when you're looking at your surroundings and the patterns that are repeating, I'm seeing like a reflection of abandonment that you're terrified of, but I'm also seeing how much you abandon yourself in your desires, in your safety, right? And then I also see that you don't want them to feel as sad as you felt when you were being bullied.
No.
So then you abandon yourself and you compromise so that they don't have to feel that.
Yeah, that's a good summary. It is.
So it's this continuous cycle of abandon myself, not abandon them, so they don't have to feel what I felt when I was being bullied.
And when I did, the guy that I really loved, who was my best friend, I did say that to him when we broke up. It was like, it hurt a lot, but I was crying. And I just said to him, I was like, I've tried so hard with you and I've done so much for you. And it's always about you. And I understand that you are an addict and I have to be respectful of that. And I totally understand that. But I was like, I don't even know who I am or what I want anymore.
And so there was almost a complete abandonment of yourself in that relationship.
Oh, yes. Like, yes, 100%. 100%. Mm-hmm. I can acknowledge that because, yes.
So what are you feeling right now?
Well, I feel a little bit sad, but it's nice to kind of vocalize it just because, like, I don't really, like, talk to people like this. Like, last night, my friend, and she's, like, my really good friend, but I guess we've only been friends for maybe, like, a year or two, but she is my really good friend, and she mentioned something about Ethan's dad, and I was just like, oh, yeah, like, he was abusive, and she was like, what? And I was like, oh, yeah, he was abusive. And she's like, are you serious? And I said, yeah. She's like, I actually had no idea like that about you. And you've never, ever mentioned that to me once before. And we've always talked about Ethan and his dad, just what his dad's like. I'm like, yeah, like I don't really. Like sometimes.
So you're feeling that sadness? Where could you like localize it, describe it
Probably my heart.
in your heart?
Yes. Like in my chest.
Would you be willing to sit with it for a moment?
I can try. I don't think be uncomfortable, but I could
It's up to you. I'm just offering the space. And if there's anything, FYI, if there's anything in this session that you do not want to be in the public, we can cut anything out.
Well, no, it's nice to talk about it because I am a talker, but I also listen a lot. So, yeah, I don't really ever really talk to anybody about this because I just like, I'm like, oh, they won't care. They like won't want to hear it. So
what does it feel like? Is there a texture to it? Sometimes when you sit with yourself and you really just pay attention to what's happening, sometimes a visual of a texture, a feeling, tingly, it just has a texture that you can kind of articulate when you really sit with it.
I don't want to say like it's heavy, but it's like noticeable that it's there. Like it's not like
tight.
I can't really describe it. It's like, have you been anxious before? It's kind of like that anxious, like if I had to give it a word, it would be like, well, this is how I see it when it happens to me, like anxiety. So like bear with me. But it's just like a ball of strings all tangled together. When I feel like this or have my anxiety, that's how I see it.
That's the image you have.
Yes, I always have. It's like a ball with all these strings that are all tangled together and just like, yeah, you can't untangle them. It's just, that's how I see it in my.
Okay. So sit with that what would happen if you sat with that for a moment and just imagine that string, just slowly, very slowly, the strings are coming loose. Just very slowly, just sit with that and imagine that you're pulling the strings loose. You can even use your fingers to pull them loose. Just imagine that.
I don't know. I kind of feel sad, like imagining myself pulling or sitting here like this. I was like, I kind of feel sad pulling the.
Is it okay to feel sad?
It is, but I can almost like see myself crying when I'm pulling the strings out.
It's okay to do that.
We seem to be happy because I'm like getting rid of all this heavy baggage.
But you need to process it first. So that's the thing, is if you can notice it's there, you can't just expect to be happy without processing it. It has to actually move through the body and process before you can actually feel that lightness that you're trying to feel.
Yeah, that's fair. I thought I was just kind of throwing it in the window and the wind was taking it that way. So as I'm pulling it out and I'm crying, I'm like just throwing it into
Be gone, string.
There's no room for that here anymore. But yes, I guess I'd still have to like feel it if I've never really acknowledged it before. Because you're right, that's not really the way it works.
Yeah.
You can't be like, oh, this existed. Okay, bye.
So in our talk so far, do you think there's anything that you've connected with the stories, my reflection, that you feel relates to self-worth, or is there something different that it might be connected to?
I don't know if it's my self-worth now that we're like talking about it. I feel like I can't save everybody from not feeling what I felt.
Do you feel like it's your job to save everybody from feeling what you felt? Your responsibility?
Yeah, because it's like not a good feeling.
Yeah, it's not a good feeling.
And it like hurts my heart that sometimes people have to feel like sometimes. So like relating things before, like when I've had problems, not even just like with relationships, but like friends. So the way they are with me, I will talk to some of my other friends and like, okay, I don't know what. Oh, okay, so I've talked to people before about lending the money.
Yes. Yeah.
So I won't use any specifics, but I was talking to one of my friends, like, this is so frustrating. This person has asked me a few times. It's not just a little sum of money. It's a large sum of money. And the second time he was like, well, what did he need it for? And I told him, and he said, and to me, it felt like, okay, this is something.
You felt a responsibility.
Yes, like this is a need. It wasn't like I'm going to the store to buy Gucci. It was like a fundamental need. And the guy was like, this person and he said his age, is this old, like he can figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
And in my head, though, I did not say this to him because I knew it would just like turn into a deep discussion that I didn't want to have. But in my head, I thought like, okay, but I've been in this situation before and I had to figure it out and it really sucked. So that's, I think, why I kind of gave him the money. But I never said that to him. But the fact that my friend wasn't wrong when he said that, like, okay, he's in his 30s, like, you just found out your mom had cancer, you're a single mom, your vehicle's broken. And then he's coming to you and asking you for this money. He's a grown adult. He can figure it out. But in my head, even though I had all this going on, I was like, well, you know, it kind of sucks to figure it out. I wouldn't want someone else to have to figure it out the way that I did.
Mm-hmm. The way you had to figure things out when your mom's attention wasn't available.
Yeah. Or even like I've been in a tight spot with money before and it sucked. Yeah, I figured it out every time, Ashley. I always figured it out because I had to. But the fact that he had come to me, and yes, probably as a grown adult, I should have said to him, no, but I didn't. So that was my choice.
Yeah.
Ultimately, that was my choice. I made the decision consciously to, but at the same time, my friend was not wrong. I should have let him figure it out. But all I could think was like, oh, there's been so many times in my life that I have been struggling like money wise.
Or struggling to figure it out in any sense.
Yes. And I figured it out and it sucked. But I never didn't like.
I wonder why it sucks to figure it out. To be able to figure it out on your own.
Well, sucks. Have you ever had to figure it out?
Lots. I love it. I love figuring it out. I love figuring it out.
Well, I mean,
it's so fun.
I don't.
Even when it's hard.
Well, even with money and stuff like that.
So that's interesting. The perceptions of figuring stuff out that we each have, right? You look at it as it sucks. You have to figure it out. Why? Because you had to figure it out because your mom's attention had to be diverted. It's not intentional. It's just what it was. And we don't hate our parents for that. But as that child who couldn't rely on our parent, right, to help us figure it out, there's that sadness. It's this really hurts that you're not there for me. Who's going to take care of me? I have to take care of myself. So it sucks.
A lot of times, though, too, I will. Well, no, this throws some positivity. When I did get older, especially as a single mom, just to kind of, I guess, put it, not a twist, but just like to throw another wrench in what you're saying. But when I got older and I had Ethan, I was a single mom. I will credit my parents. They helped me out a lot. There was a lot of time.
100%. They were able to at this time.
So another thing that happens, though, too, when it comes to figuring it out and people come to me, I'm always like, well, you know, I was really blessed when I was older to have my parents. These people don't have these people to fall back on, and I almost feel bad. But I don't know where that comes from. Like, if I was ever short for groceries or my rent or my phone bill, I'm in a good spot now. But there was a time, even last year, I got laid off. I did have a new job coming up, but it wasn't there yet. It was Christmas time. I didn't have a lot of money. I won't lie. I had messaged my dad and said, hey, Dad, this is what's going on. And it was a need. It wasn't a want. I need this. I explained it to him. He's like, okay, yeah, no problem. And he sent me the money right away. So it doesn't just have to be money, but that's just an example that I've had in my head. But if someone comes to me when they're older and it's like, oh, you don't have your parents? Like, what is happening? Then sometimes I don't want to say that that's why I help them figure it out. But it's because it's like, oh, I have this great support system. I don't understand why you don't. So I don't want to say fill that void, but I feel like, I don't know if that makes any sense. Like, do you know what I mean? Like when this person came to borrow money from me, for me, it was like, oh, well, why don't you just call your parents? Because
yeah, not all parents are going to be able to or want to do that.
Well, no, that's true. And there has been times though, my dad taught me a lesson. So he's given me a lot of money. If you do watch this, Dad's given me a lot of money. There has been times though, like just to kind of like tease, he's like, okay, I'll lend this to you, but you need, but there was no urgency. Like, okay, here's $50. Here's
And like to acknowledge our child's perception isn't to fault our parents.
Oh, I would never want them to feel like, because
I can see that because you're like, oh, I'm running to the defensive right now. I'm running. But to acknowledge our childhood distresses that is creating this pattern in your life isn't to dismiss their love. It's not to make them feel bad. And it's not to dismiss all of the good that they did.
Oh, because they didn't do
right.
Yes.
It's not to do any of that. The only reason it's important to really acknowledge like how you felt back then, what that perception that 10, 9, 8-year-old might have made without all of the facts, because we're children, we don't have facts, we don't have the cognitive ability to have all the facts, right? So just to acknowledge and actually be present with the way the nervous system developed would be the word. And that nervous system and that perception can stay with you for life, even though our adult minds, they grow and they want, like, they see all the beauty in what our parents did. And we can say, you know, like for me, I'm like, I love that I had to figure everything out because it made me strong. It made me who I am. But there is still those aspects of when I was a child that created resentment when I'm older. And it's all about that perception I created when I was younger. And if I don't acknowledge that, I can't address it. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So I'm not trying to like...
No, but it's funny that you said about the nervous system, because it's like, it's an instant reaction. So like, even when people are like, it doesn't even have to be money, because there could be times like, Kyle, I need you to come to my house right now. And it literally, I don't even think about it. It's like, okay, yes, I'm coming. Or like, I had this thing going on, and automatically my response is like, yes. But again, like when you're saying about your nervous system, I could almost
feel it already.
I was like, yeah, that's what happens. My nervous system's like, okay, like let's get.
You're as a kid, you had to be the one.
Yes.
Right.
So as soon as
right,
money's always just the easiest one to use because it's concrete. But it literally could be anything.
It's in the relationships too, and the way your nervous system developed when you were being bullied. Like, yes. I don't want anybody to feel that.
Yeah. So like automatically, I'm like, yeah.
When you're in a relationship, you betray yourself in a sense because your nervous system is wired to like not make anybody feel that way.
Yeah. That's a good accurate description, because yes.
And so it takes your conscious attention to clear that. And by to clear that is to sit with that uncomfortable feeling that we were talking about. To really sit with it. Because when you allow it to express, new thoughts and new transmissions can come in.
Maybe I could sit in saying no. Not saying yes right away.
Yes,
and then just saying
no.
So maybe instead of instantly being like, yes, well, that's what would come to my brain. Yes, but maybe I should stop and just say no and then sit in that.
So this is something I learned to do with my kids. I don't respond to my kids right away, because usually I'll respond with a no. I'll be like, they'll be like, can we have a sleepover in the bedroom today? My instant reaction wants to say no, because it makes me think about all the responsibilities that I have to do with cleaning up afterwards, having another clean house, all those extra responsibilities that I don't want. But the first thing I say to them is I go, okay, wait, I'm not saying yes. I'm not saying no. You just asked me. Let me think about it.
Oh, actually, that's a good idea.
Right? Every time they ask me something, I used to say no all the time. And then I have to change my word. Right?
Yes.
I don't want to change my word. What I say is final. So I say, let me think about it. And that gives them the space to sit and be like, I wonder if she's going to say yes. And then it gets me to actually sit with myself and be like, am I trying to avoid responsibility, or am I just saying no to be a dick?
Oh, I actually like that.
So it's not no. And then same to go with relationships, right? When you feel like you're liking somebody, and the first time that they're mean to you, if you're dating them, really just sit with yourself. Is this is this something I want in my life? Or am I trying to make them not feel bad?
That's really interesting, because I never actually had that kind of perspective on that before. Because now that I'm thinking back, I'm like, oh.
And that's why it's called the perspective.
Well, no, because you're right. That's such a different perspective, because I wouldn't have never thought of that way. But now that you said that, I'm like thinking back to times in my head, like, oh, I could have applied that to this situation. I could have applied it to this situation. Like,
yeah. And then your word is your word. Your desire is your desire. But you give that space to really reflect and make a decision.
I love that.
Yeah.
I do. You're so good at this. I always tell you that, but you're the best.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So in closing, let's wrap this up.
Okay.
And you tell me what you feel you have received from joining the perspective shift today.
Well, first and foremost, a different perspective.
Amazing.
But I feel a little bit lighter, because it was nice to actually talk about this stuff, just because I do go to therapy, but we don't always cover everything. So it's just nice even just sit here and talk about it. And like I said, verbalize it. And I feel like, okay, I feel like how I feel and some of the stuff, I was like, oh, that was valid. And then you also brought up stuff that you made points like, okay, so I noticed when we were talking about bullying, you diverted away from that right away. So now I'm like, okay, maybe I need to go home and sit in that a little bit more. So you've given me some things to think about and work on. So I love that. I'm always like looking to work on myself, but probably the biggest thing was obviously the perspective shift. I think mission accomplished.
Awesome. I would like to acknowledge your bravery on coming on here.
Well, thank you. And thank you so much for having me. I was so nervous. So thank you.
You're welcome. I'd also like to acknowledge the things that you have done to not abandon yourself.
Oh, do I have to do that?
No, I'm acknowledging that for you.
I'm like, don't.
I'm acknowledging that for you because the pattern I see is a lot of self-abandonment. But I definitely want to acknowledge that the things that you are doing, which is everything you're doing with your show and you're coming on here and actually taking the time to do the reflections, right?
Yes.
And just making that awareness to yourself. That is all wonderful things for you to not abandon yourself.
Well, thank you. I actually really appreciate that. That makes me feel nice.
And you can do that for yourself when you're feeling not like nice.
Well, thank you. I actually really appreciate it. Thank you, Ashley.
You're welcome. Thanks for being on the show.